My voice screams through the thin atmosphere, while crackling sounds of slime irritate my ears. Although I see nothing but gooey blackness, I feel something grab hold of me, but the feeling is overwhelming. My heart skips a beat, a lump appears in my throat, and I find it hard to swallow. Finally, two dry, cracked hands pull me out of this sticky substance. It's Jorvan, and now I'm in some type of living room that looks like the entry to a run-down funeral home. Soot-stained gravestones, screaming faces of broken people condemned to a hellish home. Mannequins that look like mortuary assistants stand beside open coffins of real dead people drained of their soul. Those that look like they're moving, but hugged by stuffed kids that have moved on to the afterlife. And every time I move my head to the side, I see them shift in the corner of my eye. I'm not sure where to look or in what direction I should point my eyes in, because everything around me feels like I'm no longer alive. As I stare into space, trying to zone out of my surroundings for a while, Jorvan sidesteps and looks into my eyes. And in that time, I see quick flashes of Butcher Blackchapel putting a guy on a large meat hook attached to chains with a smoking incense burner, screaming like his intestines are being sucked out of his stomach, then chasing a girl around through dark depths of shadowy figures and angels with eyes oozing pus that seem to shiver. I rattle my head and turn to the wall. A picture of a smiling Jorvan with a woman and two kids speak of a happy life. He sobs, then grabs my collar and stares me in the eyes with a profound look of pain. He murmurs like a ghost just stole his family's soul, with trembles that shake my body, feeling like my skin is eating away at my bone. He bursts out into a tale of woe, with tears in his eyes. I wasn't the best boyfriend, but I had her back. There were far bigger things to worry about than frightening ghosts. Money. But that hardship just amplified the madness in my head. The dipshit stick figures that crawl under my skin at night. I would itch in my sleep while she held me down. I thought she was fighting me in my sleep, waking up with burnt skin that stings every time I speak. The cold sweats taste so sweet, but she said it smelled like I was decaying every day. I couldn't fathom the world I was living in. Sometimes it was bright, surreal, like the dead were alive. And sometimes it was dark, stark, like the earth was dead inside. So one day, she decided to sit me down and ask me questions. Dig deep, you know, into my childhood, like a therapist is drilling the thoughts out of my brain. Happy times, dread, when I was ever scared. But every time I answered, I seemed a little more confused. Then she asked if I could feel it, but I just didn't understand. Like the walls started to expand and contract. Then a musty smell in the air began eating away at my nose like rotten is rotten. She asked me to spell out a few sentences and words, like she's just checking to see if I'm still all there and not too mad in the head, I suppose. But as I began, I couldn't even finish the clause. All she said was, "It's working." And by this time, I knew she had done some type of spell, some witchcraft, voodoo, whatever you want to call it. But I just ended up standing up, looking in the mirror. My reflection was gone. Oh boy. I turned to her and screamed the bleating air from my body that my skin started to wrinkle and sag. But all she did was smile and say, "It's working." I felt drowsy and stumbled onto the sofa as she held me up while I was all floppy and soggy. She gently laid me down on the sofa. I knew I was losing the life in me. I knew she was purposely draining me. My kids stood in the door in shock, but their mother just said, "He's just tired. Sometimes Daddy forgets how to breathe and his skin shrivels a little. But don't worry, he'll be up in no time." They just turned and walked off, their little bodies getting blurry and more blurry as they disappear in the hallway, heading up the staircase. And by this time, I started to drift off, and as I took my last few blinks, I saw a man in a long brown jacket with a device in his hands, very similar to yours. Jorvan's eyes widen, as if he's recalling a horrific scene in his head. But in a spiritual sense, a cold knot of dread pulls me closer to his aura. It feels heavy, stuffy in my throat, but not quite terrifying. Just there, still. I have that sense that I'm becoming part of him. I get visions of him being chained to a blood-dripping metal slab. I see an electrode cap that softens like wax. The wires have melted into his skull. It's becoming part of him. I hear a woman with a chilling giggle, but cannot see her. He belts out a tortured scream, but it feels like a dull ring in my ears. I see tubes being forced down his nose, eyes pinned open with staples, while facing a big screen. I'm not quite sure what this is, but his blood is everywhere. Then all I hear is, "It's working." But hear the brazy thing, crazy. There are dark, skinless demons present in a few dark corners of this room. They emit a layered hum that sinks into my chest and pushes and pulls on my heart. Their eyes are dull, so dull. Not an inch of a glow. Yet, they are being controlled by something, as they sink in staring at Jorvan, whenever the woman's voice becomes distant. And as they move closer towards him, his screams become muffled. Then all I hear is, "It's working."